Welcome back to the Canon, where I bring you the latest in comic book and superhero movie news. I'm your host, Terry, and I'm ready to bring you the stuff that matters. Just before we get started, I want to remind you, go to the description section, use the time codes to jump around to different topics. But our first topic of the day, we got drama in the MCU. Kevin Feige, Lord and Savior himself of Disney, came out during a press junket interview and has some direct contradictions that go against what Amy Pascal said from Sony earlier this week. The exact quote was, "Right now Spidey is in the MCU, and it's just Spidey. Civil War, Homecoming, we've already shot a lot of Tom Holland scenes in the upcoming Avengers films, and we're just starting to solidify our plans for Homecoming 2. We won't call it that, whatever it is, which is exciting because it'll be the first MCU movie after Untitled Avengers in 2019. It'll be the way Civil War informed in everything in Homecoming. Those movies will launch him off into a very new cinematic universe at that point. Those 5 movies are all we're focusing on." I was right. Oh, I'm just playing. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to keep these comments. So I'm not going to say that I was right. But I think I don't think this is new information. So first off, I won't say that Kevin Feige is contradicting Amy Pascal. I won't say that she lied or all this. But I will say this is very much in line with what I've been saying since day number 1. I mean, before I did the Canon, I used to do a little podcast thing. And literally right before the Spider-Man deal happened, one of my first episodes was how to fix the Spider-Man universe. And I talked about making a deal with Sony and all this and that. And it pretty much played out like I said. And then once we start talking about this, for me, I think business minded. I was a business student in college. So it's just how I think about things and the way I interpret what people say. So I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I know all the information. Of course not. I'm all the way here. They're all the way in LA. But just from what I've looked at and saw and what makes sense, this is what I always thought. Because no studio wants to take orders from another studio. No studio wants to have to get things approved from another studio. And no studio wants to share money with another studio. So although Spider-Man deal happened, you knew it was temporary. Now, all the Marvel heads, we want all the products with Marvel and Disney. We know you do. Not going to happen. Too much money. And you don't want that because Marvel is not going to be able to put out as many movies by themselves as, 3 separate studios. So you don't really want that. But everybody wanted Spider-Man to come home. And I'm like, okay, I understand that, but that's not the reality. That's Sony's only property. And it's not just Spider-Man, it's his whole universe. So that's enough to make money. If Sony just has Spider-Man, then maybe. But anyway, so looking at the writing on the wall, Tom Holland had 3 movies on his deal. And 3 of them were cameos. And what other movie are you going to cameo in besides MCU? 3 of them were solo Homecoming films. So he has 5 movie deals with Marvel. So obviously the last movie in his contract won't be with Marvel unless they redo the deal. So if you just hear that contract by itself without hearing anything else, that would automatically signal to me, okay, 2 studios setting up a deal for this many movies. At that point, we're going to jump into our own universe. And then you hear Venom coming out because they wanted to do that before. So you hear Venom. They get a big star to do it. You hear Black Cat, Silver Sable, all this other stuff. And people just immediately, for whatever reason, they're making movies without Spider-Man. And I'm just like, do you really think they would do that? Not only without Spider-Man, but with Spider-Man in another universe? That would make 0 sense. And so as much as people don't like Spider-Man 3, dude, Sam Raimi's trilogy was pretty strong. I mean, overall. So it's not like they don't know how to make Spider-Man movies. So I just thought it was a crazy idea from the beginning to suggest that they're sticking with a non-Spider-Man universe. That was crazy. So anyway, so Amy Pascal, what she basically said was that Venom and whoever else are going to be in this universe that we're setting up for Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man is part of the MCU right now. Cool. Jessica Jones part of the MCU. So is Iron Fist. When have you seen them with everybody? Like, people take being in the MCU so literal and so strong. And I used to too, because I'm like, okay, I'm watching, what's his name? Luke Cage. You said Iron Man's in the universe. So why, when this happens, why is Iron Man not here? So it's easy to take it that way. But after you really see it play out, you realize being in the universe doesn't mean much if you never cross over. So Spider-Man's in the universe, but she said we're creating a universe. MCU's already created. So everybody's like, she just said Venom is in the MCU. No, she did not. She said they're creating a universe, a homecoming universe. So that was number one. Now Feige pretty much is backing that up when he's saying at some point after the last movie in their deal, he's going to be kicking off a brand new cinematic universe. So if anybody after today comes in and says, Kevin Feige said Spider-Man's in MC, I'm going to be so pissed. He said brand new universe. It's done, guys. He's going to his own Spider-Man universe. And they even referenced the 5 movies that they had to work on. Homecoming 1 and 2, and then Civil War and the 2 Avengers movies. So they've already referenced all the movies in the deal. We know that's true. We know there's a 6th movie in his deal, and it's going to be with Sony. We know that's true. And now you got Venom and those other movies coming out right when his deal ends with Marvel. You know that's true. So it's all there. And he said, no Venoms in the MCU. We don't have any plans, not in this quote, but a different one. He said, we don't have any plans for any other characters from any other studios. No X-Men, no Fantastic Four, nobody. Only one right now is Spider-Man. Just Spider-Man. So I think it's put to bed, guys. Like, people are still speculating, which I don't see what there is to speculate anymore. They're done. They're not re-up in that deal. And people are like, oh, they should do it again. Sony probably didn't have a good time, and Marvel didn't have a good time. Here's a fun fact. Tom Holland, Sony's choice for Spider-Man. Marvel wanted to go with Asa Butterfield, and Sony had the trump card in that part of the deal, so they said, no, we want Tom Holland. Everybody loved Tom Holland. I guarantee you gave all the credit to Marvel when it was Sony. But anyway, those are the type of conversations you got to have when you work together, and nobody wants that. So I could talk about this forever. We probably could talk about it more. Definitely go to the comment section, engage with me, and we'll talk. But other piece of news, with the Star Wars Han Solo drama, Alden Ehrenreich, who is the new star of the Han Solo spinoff, young Han Solo whatever, he actually is the one that kicked off the concerns about directors Lord and Miller. Coming from a report, they're saying that people close to the projects heard him complain to producers about the movie becoming too much of a comedy, and that worked its way up to Kathleen Kennedy, and then they stepped in to change things. Lord and Miller didn't want to do it, and now we are here. So I am going to keep this. I think people are overreacting. Some people are acting like Alden Wright went straight to Kathleen Kennedy and said, get these guys out. That's not what it said. The report pretty much said that he expressed concern to a producer, and then that went up the chain. So I understand. Now, a lot of people got to realize that if this movie came out and was just trash, like, people would talk about Lord and Miller as far as their future projects, but the casual fan is only going to blame the new guy trying to be Harrison Ford. They're going to be like, why would you get a guy to be Harrison Ford? He's not Harrison Ford, especially if he came off like a comedy. So the report was saying that the movie felt like Ace Ventura, which that's scary enough. So if I'm an actor, especially a young up-and-coming actor, this is my first big title, I don't want to have a horrible performance that I know fans are going to hate. And so rather than just sitting there and like, hey, it's my first time, I'm going to let the directors tell me what to do, speak up your mind. And he didn't go up to the Mickey Mouse and say, hey, get these guys out here. He just told a producer and they went on up. So, and I think that once the higher ups saw the movie, they were like, yeah, we agree. Here's the weird part. There's dailies, what they call dailies. So everything you shoot every day, they have those footage. The producers usually watch it to make sure everything's going the way they want. why did it take this to get concerned? Because the news is they were almost done with production, like principal photography. So you had months and months since January of dailies footage and you didn't see a problem with it, but now you want to act. So I'm thinking maybe Disney was like, or Lucasfilm was like, hey, we don't like this, but let's just bring somebody in and do reshoots and let's not make a big fuss about it. And that way, you know, kind of like Rogue One, where it was like, okay, we're not liking that, but let's just wait till somebody else to the end, do the reshoots, and make it look normal. Because if you just kick them out in the middle of the project and do reshoots, then panic ensues. Oh yeah, that already happened. So now you see why you avoid that type of thing. And you wait to the reshoots because everybody's going to tell you reshoots are normal. And you bring in a new director and you quietly clean up the movie. That obviously wasn't the case here because Lord and Miller did not want to do that. So a lot of drama, and I'm worried about this movie, to be honest. So we'll kind of see what ends up happening with it. Anyway, that's the news for today. Go to the comment section, thumbs up, subscribe. All that stuff helps. Engage with me. Talk about MCU and Spider-Man. Y'all got some crazy theories. I want to talk about it. Remember, if you heard it here, it's official canon.